Delney comes down, then you get 2 triggers. A good amount of blockers, right? So Hopeless Nightmare, which is mostly for extra damage. Just gonna lay it now. So we could more vamps, more doubling up. Exile 2 cards from their non-existent hands. So, and we can Pixie here. And we have good games, indeed, yes. Yo, hope you're having a great day. Thank you so much for checking out the deck. This is an interesting build that sort of meets in the middle of Pixie and the Delney package, but we're doing Orzhov instead of Boros. So a lot going on here, but I think it does sort of meld organically in a very straightforward way, but very consistent way as well. And I have a killer best of 3 sideboard for you players that need this. Some ideas for best of 1s as well, but I'll get into that in a second. So let's start with Delney, which is, most people know what this does by now, but to catch everybody up, bunch of smaller dudes, power 2 or less. They'll trigger an additional time when their abilities trigger. That's cool. They can also be unblockable by power 3 or greater, so helping us sneak in some closing damage. So what creatures are we really relying on? Well, I guess for 3 drops, we'll start with Schism here, because this is just a great role player in a lot of decks, but it is pretty powerful when you're either getting 2 lifelink tokens a turn, which could keep you alive very notably, but also when you're drawing 2 cards a turn at the cost of 2 life. Very good with Delney, so you'll lead your Schism, and then you'll slap down your Delney, and that's already a pretty good 1-2 punch there, but not like tremendous or anything, right? But we also have Unscrupulous Agent, which is, to my knowledge, the best 2-drop effect like this, because it's a 2-drop guy like this that exiles rather than discards, so I think that's strictly better in 99% of situations. So play this guy, doubling up those, feels pretty good. Deep-Cavern Bat, you can hit 2 things. You can hit the scariest thing in their hand that they're going to lay next turn, and the removal that can deal with the bat at the same time. So you lay this early, also a good play. You lay it once you have a Delney, you feel good about that. Yeah, exiling 2 cards from their hand in addition to bats feels pretty good, right? Also, for creatures, we can double their stuff. il-Kor, you can double all of these triggers, get a little bit of passive life gain and some drain effect, but we're not leaning too into the creature stuff. Another good card there. We also, of course, have the Pixie package, which I'll talk about now, right? So when you can do this and hit 2 things, like maybe you hit your Hopeless Nightmare and your Momentum Breaker, which is a very important card. Notably, like if they don't have a creature to sacrifice, you can make them discard a card, which I didn't even really realize until like halfway through the recording. So you'll have to forgive me for that. But yeah, if you can hit a Nightmare, Momentum Breaker, maybe you hit your Grim Bauble, and you feel pretty good about that, and a Nightmare or something, then all of a sudden Pixie is a lot of value, right? And Delney not only doubling up that trigger, you'll get 2 counters as well, which is pretty darn cool. So very nice, turn it into a 3/3 flyer with a lot of residual value, because again, Momentum Breakers are only real actual removal. That also serves as discard if it needs to. We're really just trying to get rid of the cards in their hand with Nightmare and your agents, right? So that's pretty good. We also have like an Elspeth Smite for instant speed exile stuff, which is great, complementing your Grim Bauble. As far as 1-drops, we have 1 Sage, because we don't have too many small guys, but this can give you 2 flying tokens if Delney's on the field. Is kind of okay. It was like 2 creatures for 1. Feels good, especially when one's a flyer. And then this card is a huge blowout sometimes, keeping one of your important pieces alive if you really need it. Even if you do this onto like an agent, you just block with the agent. You absorb the block and you get another agent back. And it does come back for a 2/2, a little bit of life ping. So I like everything about Not Dead After All. So that's what I went with. Also for 2-drops, you could double up the Kicked effect, because this is a power 2 guy. You can bring back a guy from the bin while doubling that up with Delney. Also just a little bit of life gain, never hurt anybody, so that's kind of cool. Sunpearl Kirin is the 5th copy of Pixie. Not as good, but it does have the upside of 1 more power, I suppose. But you can also draw a card if you bring back a token, which have to either be the Preacher of the Schism tokens or I guess the Sage token. So there should be maybe something. You also have the Fountain Port in here to make fish if you really need to. Also something you can sacrifice your tokens to. Unstoppable Slasher also works very nicely with Delney. Now, they're not going to lose their full life when you take half and then take another half. They'll take 3/4, right? So that's how that interacts with Delney, but obviously very powerful. They'll put them in range. And then Delney giving you unblockability on your smaller guys. Maybe you'll close the damage that way. Yeah. Legions to Ashes, also more exile stuff. Feels great when you take out like 2 caretakers, or even just like 2 mice, right? 2 Ember Heart Challengers, whatever. Feels good. Can't go wrong there. Now we go up to the top of the curve, which might look a little weird. Notably, Elenda's in here. So this has nothing to do with what we're actually, the angle of the deck is, but this does give us some more lifelink, so we're not getting ran over, and we can grind out this mid-game value. We don't want it to go too long, but a little bit of life gain. Just also the only creature that has a respectable body. Most of the time can be a 5/5, which is kind of good. Hexproof from instance. Just a role player that has nothing to do with what we're doing, really. Unlike Solemn Simulacrum, which does have an ETB and a dies trigger. You can double both with Delney because it's just a 2/2 guy. And we only have 23 lands in the deck, so maybe that land's relevant, so you can cast one of your 5 drops or double spell the next turn. But really, drawing 2 is the main appeal there. We do have a Raise the Past, but we don't have that many creatures and stuff. But even if you can hit like 1 Pixie, 1 Agent, and 1 Bat, you feel pretty good about that. Maybe you hit 2 Agents, and you have a Delney. So you bring back 2 Agents, and there's a Delney on the field. They're exiling 4 cards from their hand, which is pretty damn good. So even if you don't hit too much, even just hitting like 1 or 2 creatures, if you have a Delney, could feel good. But you don't need to play this card because you don't get your Delneys back. You don't get your Schisms back. So something there. But even if you just hit a Pixie, right? A Pixie maybe one other thing, realistically, right? Then you can bring your Momentum Breaker back to your hand, or they're hopeless, right? And then just do one of those 2 things that you need to do, right? So feels pretty good, even if you don't hit everything. Season of the Burrow, which acts as a way of getting a Delney with an indestructible counter, or a Death Touch 2/4, which is okay with a Death Touch or indestructible counter, as well as just being exiling 2 of their scariest things. Unholy Annex is a way of them running away with the game. Yeah, they get a card out of it, but at least we get rid of that forever. It can be a good target. Even just making a bunch of rabbits, if maybe you have like your Elas il-Kor. Because we do try to go wide, we're going to be making tokens here, so some of those guys could end up mattering, especially when they go unblockable by Delney. So the versatility here, fantastic. Also, Starfall Invocation, because sometimes you just need a board wipe as just a panic button. Kind of cool if you bring back an Elenda after wiping the board. That feels pretty good, right? Then you start gaining a lot of life and get that Menace, gain more life. Or even just a Delney if you have a couple more guys in your hand. But also just a panic button. You don't even have to bring the guy back, right? So a lot of things you can do there. So maybe a little bit interesting. And then, yeah, Fountain Port, a little bit of token stuff going on. Seared Veils, right? 4 Restless Fortresses, a little bit of life gain as well. Closing damage as well, even if it doesn't connect itself. So I really like that guy. Bleachbone Verge. Play your Verges if you have them. I have 3 and a Cave of Koilos. And then it looks like 6 and 4 for the basics. So that's kind of it for the main deck. But just before you head out, even if you're a best of 1 player, a couple of Elspeth Smites, right, for that instant speed exile. Sometimes just kind of catches them off guard. You can double, you can do this and block with a small guy. And maybe they don't see that coming. So good value there. Getaway Glamour is really good because a removal spell and a blink card. When you're blinking a Pixie while keeping it alive on a block while removing something, it feels pretty good. The modality here is great. I like Getaway Glamour. Very good card here. Even if you're just doing this to save your agent and bring it back and then exile more stuff from there. Hand, it feels pretty good. Now, 4 Requisition Rages, because I like the flexibility of this card being that we're not going to be going super duper wide, but we do have a bunch of smaller guys. But even if we put a counter on our 1/1s, they will still be power 2 or less. Even if we put a counter on our Preacher, it's still unblockable. No, I lied, rather. So that is something to consider. So that last mode of the counter probably won't be relevant unless you make a whole bunch of guys with your rabbit. But typically, right, just hitting an artifact or an enchantment on 1 card is really good. So it fills up all 4 slots here, giving us hopefully all that we'll need in that regard. Because we do have just discard, so not all of them are going to sneak through. Grim Baubles as well, because this is just a great removal spell with your Pixie, obviously. But I only have 1 in the main board because it was hard to fit what we needed in. And we're just trying to hit their hand a little bit harder than maybe the actual small creatures that sneak through, I would say. Rest in Peace, because sometimes this is just insane, the right matchup. Obviously, if we'll sideboard out our Raise the Pass and probably our Season of the Burrow, if we are going to Raise the Peace sideboard route. Rite of the Moth. This can be good. I like the fact that you can do it twice. Could be really, really important. again for Delney and all that stuff, even just in your Elenda. I doubt you'll sideboard both of these in, maybe just one. But maybe in the right longer matchup, this could make a big difference. Very niche, but good. Probably not necessary, though. Of all the cards on the sideboard, maybe not that one. And Blasphemous Edict is a way of getting around indestructibility, any sort of hexproof, value of all that. So I like this as a board wipe, being that it is a sacrifice thing, right? We're not so worried about our stuff dying as much, because we're just trying to hit their hand, hit their ramp before they can ramp, all of that. So I think 2 in there makes sense, and that's kind of the sideboard there. So interesting approach with the Pixie and the Delney, but you know, we have like 3 good games for you today. Delney didn't get a shine as bright as I wanted, but she got to get us some value. But she does have a huge target on her head as only a 2/2, so something to consider there. But I do appreciate you making it through the intro. If you're new around here, subscribe for more. I'd hugely appreciate it. Hopefully see you in another video. Enjoy the gameplay. Have a great rest of your day either way. And peace, guys. Alright, thanks for checking out the gameplay. You rock. Let's get a dub here. We have the Agent in hand, which is good. Momentum Breaker. None of our main stuff, like no Pixie, no Hopeless Nightmare, but shouldn't be too bad with what we got going on here. Legions to Ashes. I think you just get a creature down while you can. Yeah, the nice thing about this is it is exile, so it's just a little bit better than something that makes it discard, right? So, from Karlov Manor, so a lot of people may have overlooked it, but now we get to Delhi. It's not too bad. We could bluff a swing here, but I'm not even gonna risk it. Nothing weird here. Yeah. If you swing with 3 on top mana, usually they won't block if it's 1 damage, but not a big issue. Felipe Legai, you say? Okay. We do block this. Pump spell? Oh, did they just click wrong? Oh, no. Okay, that makes sense. Alright. You get your Prism. Sorry, Creature of the Schism, not Prism. And then you Delney, so you can start drawing 2 cards a turn and feel pretty good about that. Hired Claw, cool art, but not gonna do it for you, I would declare. That's not the worst thing. We'll keep it, sure. So you lay your Delney. Right? Delney comes down, then you get 2 triggers, which is nice, getting 2 lifelink boys. Obviously, it's kind of cool when you draw 2 cards. A little bit better. These will get us there, though. So I'm actually okay with the board presence. Just put the pressure on against a deck like this. And they did have the Burst Light. Okay. Delney does have a big target on its head, and it's easy to remove. So can be tough. Can be tough. Now, this is exile, so we could let's gain 1 life. That's right, it has trample. Okay, it doesn't really matter. That was actually a mistake, but so we're gonna do this. Exile that. Swing with a both here. We could have swung with the lifelinker because they presumably have to block Slasher. Just playing it safe, I suppose. Might as well, eh? A little board presence. Doesn't feel too bad. Get a Hopeless back. We have removal. So, okay. Yeah, any creature that's squeaked on through, we just remove there. So it feels pretty good. So, not like the best showing or anything. Let's get into some more. But pretty good little baseline for the deck there. So, alright, so game 2 probably here. We have the Agent again. And another Preacher. Raise the pass, we only have 1. But it could matter. We just need to get a couple more creatures, right? It's like it's an okay hand. We will pitch that. Chance we get another one. Don't necessarily need it super bad. I think we'll Surveil Nightmare here and feel pretty good. Is that what we want to do? No, just kidding. Change of plans. We did get an untapped. Extra Fountain Port's what you want to see there, because we have our colors very well set up here. Now this can block that 2 damage guy. Part of the reason I did that. All right, swing, bada bada. They do. Throw that in front, not too shabby. Skeecher. Preacher with its toughness, feeling good. Nice little 4 toughness guy, blocking Ashnod's Harvester all day, baby. You can unearth it, but, you know, have fun with that. Corpses of the Lost comes down. It's kind of expecting that. This does have Menace, right? No, it does not. I think we blocked the Skelly. They probably have some more Skelly stuff, right? Do they want to pay more mana? They do not. Okay. Nope. Good time for the Surveil. So we'll let them know what we have. We laid a Sage. What are they going to discard? What are you going to discard, mate? And Ashnods, which they can unearth. See if they get their 4th mana. They can do both. They don't. Adaptive Automation. Pretty good. It buffed their Skelly, so glad we blocked that Skelly while we could. We could double block that, but I don't think that is the move. In fact, we're just gonna keep our lifelink guy. This will make another one. We'll start swinging with this one. Yep. Okay. Could Legions to Ashes that guy. We could also get rid of the Corpse of the Lost. Maybe save it for that. Let's swing with all. We could also Fountain Port here on block, which might be a move. Right, so that gets that. So I was hoping they let another corpse. Looks like they haven't, though. Menace. Right. Okay. I think this is probably the move, even though less life gained, but yeah, that's the move. Maybe we get a 5th? No. Okay. They only have 1 card in hand. So that technically is a move, but I also think just getting Delney down is also a move. I think you swing here, and we'll have a good amount of blockers, right? So we should be able to block very nicely here. We might even throw Delney in front of something. Depends if they lay their last 2 cards, because we could get rid of both of them, right? Which feels pretty good. But Delney just gets removed by a stab. Interesting. Isn't there a card that's strictly better than that? I thought there was. It gives -2/-2 at instant speeds, disfigure, right? But also has an upside, I guess. Anyway, whatever. Okay. So I think you double block this, right? Because it's buffing him up. And I think you double block this because it has Menace. I think that's the move. Right? We get a little low. Little bit low. Yeah, can't cast it. No mana. Okay. Well, honestly, get rid of their last card. So we swing here. We make the lifelinker. Keep it going. We will do this. Get back the Hopeless Nightmare, which is mostly for extra damage. Just gonna lay it now, so we can be mana efficient. We are trying to win on the next swing here, but let's see. We actually probably don't have the damage, but I don't know. Maybe that mana mattered or something. Looks like they don't have a card in hand anyway, so it should be alright. Fortunately, Delney not getting to show off her prowess. So I think we just do something like this. Because we can't quite win. We have to block one of these, right? So that's just insurance. And they can bring back the guy. What do you know? Oh no? Isn't that till end of turn? Oh no, they searched it. Okay. So now I guess there's a reason to have your Hopeless, but we couldn't have been sure what they ended up doing if we had a creature land. We obviously have it. Now, I think you swing here. Okay. And I think we destroy this, because that gives haste. They might have another one, but I didn't want to overcommit here. For anything sort of cheeky. Because they could bring this back, potentially. Well, I guess they had to just get the mana, which they did. Oh no, they got another corpse. So, makes a lot of sense. Just do this. Okay. So 4 damage on the thing. We got a bat. We're feeling good about it. We got another Pixie. You could repeat the Nightmare if they were controlly deck, right? The Bat. So if they had like 2 cards in hand, right? We take one with Bat. We make them discard the other one. So feeling pretty good there. So nice little showcase. Let's get Delney in. We could have also, you know, raised the past, but I didn't think it was quite necessary at the moment. So let's get into another one. Hopefully show off Delney. All right, so third game of the video. Probably what we're trying to do is get some footage of Delney actually doing the thing. So keep 7 here. We have a bat for buying us some time, which is pretty nice. Don't want that. Let's see. Can we get the Delney? Can we get the Delney, you say? Yes, quite. Let's go for the 2-drop play here. Alright. Well, I suppose it doesn't matter. So we're going to take this in case they didn't want to lay that first and then remove the bat. Now they kind of just have to remove the bat. Bolt Wave and Burst Lightning coming on down. Alrighty. So maybe now I kind of regret the Cavern Bat. I was expecting the, like, is it Otter stuff. Just been seeing so much of is it prowess stuff. So I thought there'd be an Otter we could remove. Which could have been good. Could have been good indeed. Yes. Because we had a nice turn 3 surveil. There's the Delney coming on down. Now, we'll keep that. Because we'll get our momentum breaker back. Yeah. Preacher also with that nice toughness, being able to survive. So we're trying to get them to use that Burst Lightning to the face here. Or they'll just use it on Dells. Man, the thing about Dells is not having 3 toughness, I think. That seems to matter quite a bit. This came up just today like 3 times. In a pretty relevant way. What we don't want to do is take any extra damage. So we are going to do that. Goodbye. We're going to Pixie. Now, maybe they Burst Lightning the Pixie, and we feel pretty good about that. We also just got rid of their actual threat. We will keep that there so that we can double spell. I think it'll actually be worth it here. They have to have some creature, right? Surely one of those 3 cards is one more creature. I'm thinking we maybe get 3 of these in the deck instead of the Exile 2-drop guy. I'll probably change that for the intro. So if you watched that, you saw the most recent edition. They have Flood Mob for the Pixie, though, which is controversial, I would say. You get Preacher down. Might get countered. Yeah, you always Preacher and then Delney. Now we can't remove anything. So nothing fancy here. We don't need to get our Pixie down. We have just this loop, which is pretty good when they're only playing like 1 or 2 creatures a turn max. Yeah. The Schism. I keep calling it. Oh, it is Schism. Interesting. Okay. Yep. All right, Swingle Pringle. They do remove the Dells. Dells just never had a chance. The target on her head is too big. The Dells, you say. What do you know, mate? And he gets removed. Now, this could be overkill if they have like an ill-timed explosion. But I think we go for it here. No ill-timed, please. Watch, they have an ill-timed. Okay. Makes a lot of sense, actually. Well, I guess it's the same. Just let them know that we got a mana. More vamps. More doubling up. The Swifty up the spears, you say? Not going to do it. Not quite. Oh, not quite. Something tells me we throw 1 in front for good measure. Yes, because that will put us at the lovely 12, which is just out of reach. I've done the calculations. Well, we can make them exile 2 cards from their non-existent hand. So, that's always fun. We can make them remove that creature. And we can Pixie here. And we have good games, indeed. Yes, quite. It's quite. So, yeah, the Demon deck wrecked us actually twice in a row, I'll admit. So, but good enough game for the video, I think. Right, the idea is pretty straightforward. We know what Delney does by now. Probably best in the Arabella build. Doubling up Arabella's trigger is crazy, especially all of the mobilized triggers. So you double mobilized triggers, then you're doubling the ping damage from Arabella because you have more mobilized guys that you're doubling, but you're also doubling the ping from Arabella. So it's like exponential quadruple value. It's quite crazy. So this is an interesting build though of it with the Pixie Splash, which I think is strong, obviously. So good showcase. I hope you enjoyed. If you are heading out, have a beautiful rest of your day. Hope to see you in the next video. Subscribe if you haven't and you made it this far. What are you doing? Please hit that button. It will make me happy. Take care, guys.